Hello and welcome back to On Repeat, the podcast. This is Hattie speaking.
And I'm Ellie here in the background at the moment.
Welcome to our very first episode of 2021. Yes! Yeah, I'm so excited. Such a good episode to be kicking off with as well. We are speaking to the formidable and creative and just all-round wonderful artist, Kemi Ade. We had such a fun time recording this and I think you're going to love this episode. It's just, such a great way to start the year.
Absolutely. I think having such a strong person to kick off the year is exactly what we need for 2021.
Oh, definitely. I couldn't have said that better myself. If you've not heard of Kemi, well, definitely get ready for her. I predict massive things for her this year. She is a South London singer-songwriter and she's already been praised by the likes of Complex, Notion and Jam Supernova. She's also just so creative. She's so fun to talk to. We had such a great time talking to her about the projects that she's worked on and the EP she's just released. So this was after a year-long hiatus, which saw Kemi work on tracks for the likes of Garton and Bishop. And now, excitingly, she's back with her own music. She's just released the second instalment of her double EP and is really solidifying herself as one of the UK's most exciting sort of R&B talents. So Drive, the Dusk Edition, is a follow-on and the second half of her October 2020 release, Drive, the Dawn Edition. And Dusk is Dawn's moodier accompaniment, I'd say. It combines 90s synth, jazz, soul and R&B elements, and it's definitely something that I've had on a heavy rotation. So in this week with Kemi, we are speaking about some really interesting topics, great ones to kick off the year. So imagination and creativity and songwriting, but we also speak about being a woman in the music industry and that fine line between arrogance and confidence, owning your work, and Kemi's very visual, so talking about how that bleeds into her work as well. So yeah, that was a very long intro for someone who is definitely got a great path ahead of them, a really good head on their shoulders. And before we kick off with the interview, we're going to be playing a little bit of 2 a.m. from her EP. So yeah, without much further ado, the very lovely Kemi Ade.
Time to fucking say shit. Now you got the time to fucking say. Thought that it was over, you complacent. Thought that it was over when you said I don't wanna talk to you. I don't want nothing to do with you. But look how it's turned. You say my name. Goddamn funny how shit change. You wanna be a it's me you're thinking of. Look how shit turned. Saying my name. Shit has changed. Yeah. Look, it's me you're thinking of. Look, it's you I'm thinking of. Sleepless at 2 a.m. This is how we felt this.
Kemi, is this your first podcast?
Yeah, actually. I tried to think if I did one before, but I did, but it never came out. So yes, this is.
Mm-hmm. How exciting. What was the other podcast on?
I can't even tell you.
So we were having quite a nice time having a little chat about you before
in a good way.
Before we started. Yeah, in a good way, And we were just wondering about your journey throughout, I guess, and when you started songwriting, and if that, is that something that really just came naturally to you and you were like, yeah, I wanna be a songwriter, singer, and or is it something that kind of evolved? Was it an accident? Take us through.
No, it didn't evolve, It was, I never really had one of those oh my gosh, I want to make music epiphany moments. For me, I definitely came out of the womb knowing that this was what I was meant to do. And I could write. I've always been able to. I wrote poems, I wrote stories. I still write stories and poems and stuff.
Oh, really?
So for me, it was more so me convincing myself that I was good enough to actually do it, because I was more I used to get really jealous of was really sad. I used to wish like my dad was P Diddy at a point, because I was like, if I was the daughter, I'd be a huge star. Let me move to America. Like, I'm sick and tired of living in London. I should be like 13 and in America, being signed like JoJo. Like, that was me. I was very like headstrong, but yeah, I've always wanted to do music, and I think after realizing that I could write and how naturally it came to me, I wrote for other people just as fun, and then I just started writing for myself, and it all just came together.
Do you think you can teach somebody how to write? And when I say write, I don't just mean songs, because you said that you wrote stories and poems and stuff. And, you know, they have those like creative writing courses and things like that. And some people just find it really hard to get down initial ideas and develop them. In fact, I think initial ideas and starting, they're like the hardest thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So do you think you can teach that to someone? Do you think it's possible, or do you think it's just something that comes naturally? What do you need to be able to do it?
Just based off what you said, probably not. I was going to say yeah, but initial ideas is like the easiest part for me. For me, it's like finishing it. Like, I can start anything. Writing, everything. My imagination is active. That's the problem. I've been obsessed with vampires and fairy, anything lore. Vampires, fairies, Valkyries, all that stuff since I was a kid. I used to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Charmed and think it was normal. So and like my right? And then my dad used to be like, you can sit here and watch this man's head get chopped off, but clowns scare you. And I'm like, yes, they do. But for me, I think in regards to like writing, I don't think there's like an innate gift in people who actually just write in any format. But I think you can teach people how to get better at being in tune with themselves, but I don't think everyone is meant to write. I think that makes sense.
That's so interesting. So it's almost like you have to be able to kind of find out how somebody unlocks in a certain way. Yeah. That's so true. It's really interesting hearing how you might go about writing a book. I wonder if there are any crossovers between how you might begin to write a book and how you might begin to write a song. Do you start with words in the same way then? Do you start with lyrics?
I am gifted. Literally, I don't really say that I write songs, because the way they come to me, for me, is kind of scary. The words and the melody come at the same time. And like, it's like someone sent a text through my brain and then it just comes out. Like, literally, that's how it comes out. It can be a freestyle. It can be, oh, I hear this and now I'll sing it. And then it's like this whole song. Like, I can write songs more or less in every way. And it doesn't really take a lot for me to do it. It's easier than writing a book for me. And what's weird is because we were saying, like, how do you start? For me, when I write songs, my first lines are always so like distinctive, but without trying. But when I was writing like this book, like, I was like, oh, what am I gonna write?
Yeah. That's fascinating. And I think we've spoken to one guest before about this idea of there perhaps already being a song or a story that exists somewhere within the universe. And a lot of composers said this as well. And actually, what you do is you are just taking that. Yeah. It's like you said, somebody sent you a text of that whole idea, and you are the medium to which it is produced on Earth. Yeah, essentially. That's really, really cool. And also, I love how you were talking about being able to hear and, you know, the music and the lyrics at the same time. Yeah. I want to go into detail about that, actually, especially on a musical level. So do you hear all of the instrumentation? Do you hear all of the instruments at the same time? Do you hear the bass and the drums and the like all your sounds?
Sometimes it can be like I can hear the whole song and I'll be like to like a producer or a friend, I'm like, so I have this melody and I have these lyrics and I know how the song is supposed to sound, so can you help me piece it together? So I'll be like, this is how the bass should be, can we change this? The vocal should do that. I needed this sound to go here. Like, I think I was saying to someone, first and foremost, I think how I make music is based on sound. I like things to be pleasing to my ear. So even how I sing, I want it to kind of sound like ear candy the whole way through. So then like the song becomes addictive.
Right.
So that's how I like stuff. All the favorite bits in people's songs are my favorite parts. So I just rather make a song of all the favorite parts. So that's how I make music, but that's also how I hear it. So when I write things, we call it pockets, the spaces in between like the production. So like the beats and stuff. So I hear, in my opinion, I hear quite infectious pockets. So things that when you go away later, they're just in your head for no reason. That's my favourite stuff.
Yeah, like the millennial whoop.
Do you have any examples? Do you have any favourite bits of any of your songs? Or other people's?
Oh, like, I'll give you mine and one of someone else's. In the song I just dropped, Promise, there is the PVs when it goes, in the blink of an eye, dun, 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 dun. It's so, it's fantastic. I played it to my friend and she was just like, don't you dare take that out of the song. And I was like, I did it. and then in one of my favorite songs, I'm really a big fan of like 90s music. So I don't know if you've heard of him, but Montel Jordan, he has a song called Get It On Tonight. And for other people, they won't know this, but in the end of the song, he goes like, what a, and he's like, my baby's stressing me. And then the beat goes, do. Like, I hear those things and you don't realize that's why you like the song. But when you sing it back after you hear it, that's the part that you repeat. And those are the parts that I like. Because they're the things that stay in your head. Like, music is like a insane, like, science that you either study or you just become good at it through practice and listening to other people's stuff. But those are like my favorite parts, and I'm obsessed with vocal production. The best people for me who are good at those are like Beyonce and Brandy.
Oh, do you think it's possible to have a song that doesn't have such a distinct hook? Because I'm just thinking in your genre, it's very common to have distinctive hooks and things that you can actually latch onto to make them catchy. And even from a commercial point of view, that's what makes the song sell. And you can see that through even classical music. Like Beethoven was using a certain number of notes and he was repeating them in different ways. And it was just a short, tiny little phrase. But just thinking like about some songs that don't have obvious hooks, does that make it a bad song, do you think?
No. I listen to loads of types of music. I think the crux of music is whether or not you feel something. Sometimes, like I have a song on the project, the second part called Last One, and there is actually no chorus. The whole song was literally a freestyle, and but there's so many, not necessarily catchy, but there's so many things you remember, and the emotion is like so raw that I feel like that's what connects you to it. If it's not gonna be like a catchy song, it's generally just the emotion. So it's one of the two, but something will bring you to it and like hold you for dear life.
Maybe it's a good time to talk about your EPs, because you've dropped Dawn, the Dawn Edition, and you're also dropping the Dusk Edition in January, I think?
January the 22nd.
The 22nd. I'm going to write that down. We'll make sure we have a link to it. I was wondering, like, it kind of reminded me of Kalila.
Oh, that's cool. I like her.
I love, she's great, but I really had that kind of like, I don't know, like new, like R&B that I recognize, but also like very new and very contemporary. It was a really nice mix. But I was really intrigued to know like why you had sort of like 2 EPs.
Why I decided to. So I'll tell you the truth. What happened? Okay, what happened was the pandemic, the panoramic, as I like to call it, got in the way. So we had made every song on the project was basically done apart from 2 a.m. And 2 a.m. is the person who produced that, Dan Holloway. That's the first session we've ever done with each other. We made that song and we got literally up to the end of the second chorus. And then we were like, okay, we've done a lot of work today. Let's take a break. We'll come back. And then the day we were supposed to finish the song was the first day of lockdown.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's literally what I said. I was like, fuck this shit.
Oh my God, no, that's awful.
Yeah. So then my engineer, Clinton, was like, do you know what? Yeah, you can't release this EP without that song. And I was like, that's how I feel. It's like it kind of sets the pace for where I want to go next. So I was like, if I don't release it, I'm going to be mad at myself. So I was like, to kind of give us time to finish it, I split it in half. Then everything just started making sense.
Yeah.
That one side was happier and one side was a bit darker. The track list was completely different beforehand. It was Future, I think, 2 a.m., 5 a day, then Promise, I think, then last one. I could be completely wrong.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. It's gone, and I deleted it as well. So it's actually gone. So this is literally it. But what's so crazy is once we got the final masters for the Dusk edition, and I listened to it from dawn till dusk, I was like, this is actually so much better than the way it was mixed up before. But I ended up with the 2 names because me and my friend were going for it, and I was just like, I don't know what to call it, but I do want to split it in half. And she was like, well, this one's kind of happy and this one's kind of moody. And she was like, so what do you want to call it? And I was like, how about Dawn and Dusk? Because like it's the 2 sides of the day, but they're still one day. So they're 2 sides of me, but they're still me.
Yeah. It's worked out perfectly. I kind of can't, I can imagine them as like one full piece of work, but it does, you're right, they are like kind of different, because I was listening and I was like, it makes sense that they're like 2 separate things, because it is like, I don't know, I was thinking of like Christina Milian's like AM to PM. That's kind of like the difference of what tune. It's such a tune. But I was like, yeah, they are like, two halves of a whole. Yeah. So it worked out really well. Nice. Perfect accident.
Thank you. Honestly, literal little blessing in disguise. The pandemic kind of pushed me to become more creative than I initially expected to. And it's nice because when I tell people like, okay, all that happy stuff, like, enjoy it, it's gone. We're in a different place now. Like, we're in a different place now. Just accept it. And like, people are always like, oh, but I like 5 of them. Like, that's nice. We're somewhere else.
Yeah, 5 a day is great. I think that was like the first song that I listened to of yours, and I was like watching the video and I was like, this is amazing. It's so good. It was so good. But yeah, the Dusk EP is brilliant as well.
Yeah, and on that point, earlier we were speaking about your kind of when you find an idea or when you feel like it's almost been sent to you, and that's with the sort of the music and the lyrics. Does that come with your sort of aesthetic as well, and how you might view how you want a music video to look like, or how you want your images to be? Does that all come at the same time, or is that something that evolves?
Sometimes it all comes at once. Like with 2 a.m, we're doing a video for that, so that's a little cheeky thing.
Little scoop.
Spoiler. There you go. With 2 a.m, as soon as I made the song, I knew exactly what I wanted the video to be like. I knew it was going to be moody. I knew it was going to be like a story of some kind, and I knew it was going to be like a tale of like a relation, like a situationship, a relationship that just doesn't work. Generally, that just doesn't work. Even as much as you want it to work and you have happy days, you're just not meant to be. But with like 5 a day, I kid you not, I did not know what I wanted the video to be like. I didn't. I had to be like, I just wanted fruit and I just wanted it to be fun and I just wanted it to be just normal for me to be so comfortable sharing my sexuality and just being like, okay, cool. If you want to date me, this is what I expect.
Fair.
Yeah.
Say it how it is.
That's literally what it was. And I was like, as long as that attitude comes across, then the video is fine. And like, as long as there's fruit, because obviously the song's called 5 a day. And that was about it. Honestly. And then the rest of it just came together and I was happy. But most of the time, for me, everything kind of comes at once. Video, image, everything. But sometimes when I'm stuck, I'm just like, is there a director that wants to take the lead?
Yeah. Is it kind of hard to find like directors or like producers if you have such a like clear kind of vision, or in some cases like an unclear vision? Is it like, how do you trust someone with those kind of like ideas and you're like, the bass line sounds like this sounds like this? Is it hard?
It is actually. You need to have like it's weird. I say to all my friends that working in music with producers is like being in a marriage. It's so weird. Like you just kind of have to be so willing to be vulnerable and open, willing to make mistakes, willing to accept someone else's mistakes, and then generally try to press on, because like nobody can see what's in your mind, and as much as you try, you can't articulate it perfectly. So it's hard, but sometimes some people just get it. Like I've met like a few people on this journey who just get me. I can say 5 words and they're like, okay, cool, I get it, don't worry. And then some people I have to explain a bit more, so it's harder. But yeah, it's a mix.
It's interesting speaking to you because you sort of radiate this real sense of strength, and you said that you were pretty headstrong as well, and you always have been, but you also have this what seems like real side of kind of softness and sensitivity, and even like sort of mystical sense. I don't know. It's like it's really cool seeing all these sides to you. But I wonder, you know, it's quite difficult, I think, being a woman in the music industry to be able to hold your own with such confidence, and also to sort of really make sure that people are not calling you arrogant, and that there is a difference between confidence and arrogance, and that actually women who are confident are more likely to be labelled as arrogant. Yeah. Have you ever encountered an experience like that, and how do you...
So I have like a few musical inspirations, and one of them is like Beyonce, and Beyonce said that, you know, the same thing you said, when a woman is being headstrong and knows what she wants, like she's called those words, but she's like, the only thing you can do is be fair, and to yourself and to everyone else, or we're just going to end up with a product that no one likes. When people tend to question my vision and stuff, I just remind them that, like, at the end of the day, and it sounds so bad, but it's the truth, if something goes wrong, the only person they're ever going to blame or criticize is me. And I need people to understand that there is a certain level of expectation. On Beyonce's internet, there is only Beyonce standard.
Yeah.
So I expect everything that I do to be of a certain standard. And as long as I'm respectful and fair and I'm not hurting anyone's feelings, I try and keep everything I say to be clear and concise. Like, this is what I want. This is how I want it. And this is it. I don't mind going back 7 million times. We can do 10 phone calls of me telling you exactly what I want. But at the end of the day, this is the idea. This is the vision. And if it's good advice that you want to give me and I take it on and it literally helps advance the idea, 100%, I will take it. But if it's things that are just negating where I'm trying to go, remove it.
Yeah.
I'm not here for
Exactly.
it.
I mean, you're the only one that knows your journey. So like,
Exactly.
it's like, sometimes it's so pointless. I always wonder if men have this like inner turmoil.
No, they don't. They don't.
It's just women.
I've actually asked. And then all my friends are like, no, I just do it. Yeah. I'm just like, so okay, I have to worry every 5 seconds if I'm being too, what's the word? Oh, no, Kemi, you're being a bitch.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
That's nice.
Like,
it's so funny because I said to my friend the other day, I was like, I've now taken to calling myself a reformed bitch because, like, I said to my friend, I was like, I'm tall, yeah, but the key's on the top shelf so I can reach. So if you want me to unlock the door, I can unlock it.
Exactly.
But I was like, I'm really nice. It's just that I know what I want. And for some people, it's intimidating. And unfortunately, that says more about you than it does about me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
I think that's the word, intimidation. There's nothing more irritating when people go, oh, well, she's really intimidating. And I'm like, but what, why? Like, why is a woman intimidating and a man's like assertive?
It's interesting. I find that especially like I have really honest friends. My friends will go to me like, oh, Kemi, you need to remember you have pretty privilege, because I get free stuff all the time. It's quite sad. No, it's not. It's great. So they're like, remember, because you're of a standard of attractiveness that the media says is what is nice. And then on top of that, you are headstrong and all that type of stuff. Men naturally are like afraid of that energy. So do you feel like you have to bend? I'm like, no, I don't care. If you are a man and you are intimidated because I happen to be attractive, I can't make myself ugly. It doesn't happen overnight. I can't make myself less attractive. Like I didn't choose this face. If I did, thank you. But I didn't choose this face. Do you get it? So it's like, but I did choose to be this person. And I want to be a person who empowers other women to just do what they want, because men don't question it. And just because you don't have a penis doesn't mean that you should be questioning your decisions. As long as you believe in yourself and you know you're doing the right thing, you're being fair, and everyone understands exactly what you're saying, you've taken advice and you've taken it into consideration, make your decision and move with it. Because at the end of the day, the only regret you'll have is that you never listened to yourself. So just do what you need to do. Yeah.
So I guess like you were saying, you're sort of the full package in terms of musical ability.
I'm crazy.
Like creative ability. You know, you're smart. You've got ideas, and you've got the image by society's standards, right? Like, sweet. How does that kind of translate with other people when it comes to jealous feelings? Have you ever encountered jealousy from other people, male or female, or anything? Anyone? An animal? I don't know.
The thing is, I don't pay attention to other people in that way. It's my mum raised me in a wonderful way. She made sure that I knew my worth from a very young age, and like instilled it into me. Like there is like one distinct memory I had when like I probably had like a brief instant with a bully, and they were like trying to tell me like I was ugly and all this type of stuff. I went home and I told my mum. My mum was like, what kind? She was like, no child of mine is ugly. I was like, don't you know you're going to be taking pictures and doing this and doing that, and people will be saying, dressing up like you because da, 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 da. So then I walked outside, went to exactly where they were, and I was like, my mom said that I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. You can't tell me this. And then they laughed. And then it's so funny because like so and so many years later, I see those same people and they're always like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty. Oh, you don't like, you've evolved, but you look exactly the same. So it's like, I didn't necessarily evolve. You just didn't really appreciate me where I was before. So I guess there's some instances of jealousy, but I don't care. Like, it sounds so rude, but I don't really care about other people's opinions of me because it doesn't pay my bills. And it also is not gonna make me happier. It's not gonna make me sadder. It just sounds like projection, and I don't feel like that helps me. I've got to focus on my own self-love. Like, being attractive is like a surface thing. I could literally please, God forbid, but I could literally have an accident and then something could happen to my face. And then what happens? Like, you know what I mean? Touch wood, like, for real. But like, what am I supposed to do? I only have my personality and my intelligence and all that stuff to go off, my talent. And that's really it at the end of the day. I value my intelligence and how I interact with people so much more. So when people are jealous of materialistic and aesthetic things, I'm just like, people can't choose what they look like. Get over it. That's it. You can't choose what they look like. And if they could, then we'd all look one way and it'd be boring.
It would be super boring.
It'd be so boring.
I think that's amazing that your mum instilled that sense of like self-worth and confidence in you at such a young age. It's so important. I think particularly when working in the music industry, which, I mean, it kind of has a tendency to very easily like chew people up and spit them out.
Yeah.
And we've spoken to a few people that have kind of gone on the sort of like X Factor, like Britain's Got Talent kind of.
They asked me to go on that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I said no.
Oh, because I was when was this? Because I was going to say,
they
like, how did you?
So they do this thing. They send you emails, like different artists, different emails, and they're like, promise how far you'll go. They'll guarantee you. So for me, they were like, you'll get to judges' houses, but just come. So then you can do everything else. And after judges' houses, it's like whatever. I have a friend who she was promised to get onto the live shows, and I was like, this is so fake. This whole thing is fake. And it's just so weird because then you become based on your story and it does like so much damage to like a lot of people. Like, I was literally talking to my friend earlier, that from Little Mix, Jessie.
Yeah, she's just left quit. Actually.
And it's so sad because she is my favorite in the group, her and Jade. But Jessie is my favorite because like I love the fact that she was the more curvy old girl and her eyes are beautiful and she's just like a gorgeous person, to be honest. And like it's sad that because she was next to women who were different shapes or considered like the more conventional standard of beauty, she literally chipped away at her self-esteem because for a short period of time in her life, but in the moment felt like forever, every Saturday and Sunday they literally ripped her apart and it's insane. So those like I can't, those shows and stuff, I don't know how people do it. It's a different kind of strength. I couldn't do it.
I don't know how they're kind of still going on. I think they're so so irresponsible. I think there's been I don't know, they just seem to have like no welfare for anyone whatsoever. Everyone's like commodity, and really the show is about Simon Cowell, or the show is about Amanda Holden or whoever's on it nowadays. It's really not about the contestants. They're just used as like cannon fodder. It's so, I think particularly in like, you know, when like maybe Pop Idol, then maybe that was the first one. I think when that first started, that was like, you look back at some of the auditions and you're like, these people aren't well, and they've been used as like national.
And it's the way they used to, like, the question that they used to ask them was like, who told you can sing? It's like, how can you just so blatantly ask someone that on TV and expect them not to react in a crazy way? Because you told them they could. That's how they got to this part. And then all of a sudden, like, you've decided they can't. I had a friend in college who actually said to me, it's like, I'm going to audition, and I'm going to audition badly to get to the auditions in front of the judges so that I can audition good. And he literally did and got through. And then he didn't make it past like boot camp. But I was like, the fact that he knew that if he gave them a sub story, audition badly, they'd put him on the show first. I was like, no, X Factor and all that stuff is problematic. It's not good for people's mental health and self-esteem.
I find it really nostalgic talking about these old shows. And actually, if we just think about it for a second, do you remember a show called Stars in Their Eyes?
Yes, I love it.
But that was amazing. That was
I love that show.
I used to think that it happened like in that second. You know, when they walked through the doors, I used to think it was immediate.
Yes. Me too.
Tonight, I'm going to be...
So to both of you, this is a question to both of you, actually. If you were on Stars in Their Eyes, who would you show up as tonight?
What was his...
Matthew,
It was Matthew. It was Matthew. You go first.
So who do you think you would be?
That's so hard. Whose song could I...
I mean, I'll go first,
you go first.
whilst you two are thinking about it. I'll ask myself. I would be...
You have to say, tonight, Matthew.
Tonight, Matthew. Tonight, Matthew. I'm going to be Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
I knew you were going to say
Yes.
that. I knew it. I should have put money
have
down.
to.
Yes.
I have to, because when I do, I can look like Amy Winehouse,
can.
and
Beehive
that is my
and all.
go-to karaoke
Beehive
artist.
and all. I'm here for it. What song would you
Thank
do?
you.
Tough question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult because Valerie is technically a cover, isn't
Yeah.
it? And that is a go-to karaoke. Maybe Back to Black, you
Yeah.
know, something really, or
Iconic.
something from Frank, if I really
Stronger
wanted to
than
be.
me.
But stronger. You should be stronger than me.
Yes, she already did it. So we've got it.
Got it. We need to bring it.
All right.
Yes.
I'm done, guys. I'm done.
Come on,
I'm
and
done.
then
What about
Sparkle.
you two? Can be male if you want, by the way.
See, I was
You
thinking
know?
that, I was thinking to do a guy. I was going to do Tonight, Matthew. I'm going to be Andre 3000.
Oh,
Right?
What a shout.
I mean,
What a shout.
and I do Prototype.
We were talking to Puma Blue, who's based in London but is moving to Atlanta, and he was like, it's amazing because Outkast from Atlanta, so they're just on the radio all the time. And I was like, can you imagine a world where like Outkast are on
Every day.
24/7?
Oh my gosh.
So good. Who would I be? I mean, I think Tonight, Matthew, I'd have to be Beyonce, because if I could, I just love to be her for 24 hours.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
with a
Beyonce.
really, really, really long, like blonde
Yeah.
weave.
Yeah.
That's
I
kind
see
of what I was
it.
going for, but I'm too cheap.
It's
So
okay. We are all Beyonce some days.
we are, all three of us can do Destiny's Child.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes. So we'd be like, Tonight, Matthew.
Let's do it.
We are Destiny's
Destiny's
Child.
Child. I was reading about you and it said you had like a year off from like your own kind of work to write for other people, and you wrote for like Bishop and Rebecca Garton. And I wondered like what that was like. How was it different writing for another artist in comparison to yourself?
It's weird. It's like kind of finding like a tether between you and them that connects with everyone else. Because if what they're going through connects to you, you can write about it, and then it can connect to everyone else. So it's kind of making what they feel more relatable. It's kind of like therapy. You really have to listen to what they're going through or what they want to write about, and then you kind of need to piece it together to make it make sense. So I wrote that song. I wrote Comfortable for Rebecca Garton, and with that, like she was like in like this happy phase of like the relationship where like you're like, oh, I love you, and I was like, oh wow, that sounds so cute. I wish I was feeling that too. So then that's how that came to like be a thing. So yeah, you kind of just have to find like the connection. Yeah.
Is that how it works? So like I would approach and be like, Kemi, I really want you to write a song for me. Like these are my kind of like topics, what I'm feeling. I didn't realize it was so like,
it's like therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You literally just sit there. Sometimes we get drunk. Sometimes we do things that we shouldn't do, like smoking things. But we like just get free. Sometimes it's like a conversation for like 2 hours. No music is made, not one production beat, drum, anything is done. Then after everyone's like poured their heart out, someone plays something, and then the song might just come like that, and you just talk and all that type of stuff, and everything falls into it like that. It just sometimes it's really easy, sometimes it's difficult, but you have to just wait until they give you that line or that thing that makes them feel like, oh, I just want, like, I think she said something to me, it's like, oh, why don't he just want to like open up and like say stuff? Because like life could be so good. And I was like, yeah, it could be so comfortable, right? And then I think that's how it came together.
That's a spark.
Yeah. And it just works.
Do you ever, I always wonder this, or I have wondered this, do you ever like, say you're writing for somebody else and you're like, this is a really good idea, and you're like, I will keep said idea. We can take this bit out. Oh, really?
I've done it once. I'm not going to lie to you. Once I wrote a song and I was like, this song connects more to me than the artist. Please don't let them use it. Please. And they didn't use it, but then I didn't want it in the end. So it was like, oh.
Bringing back to a second about your the break that you said that you had for a year. I think that's amazing that you discovered whether, I don't know how you did discover that actually, whether it was through trial and error as it is for most people, that you actually just need to chill out. Like Hattie and I were saying as well, we've been going pretty hard with our work this term and we really need some time to just either do nothing or do something completely different. And I wondered, what do you do when you have a break? Do you listen to other people's music? Do you not listen to music at all? Do you like do something completely different? What's your like routine, or do you not have one?
I draw. I'm going to sound like a big-headed person in this interview.
It's all right. We established it's confidence, right? Not arrogance.
It's confident.
Right. So I'm just an artist. I draw. I take photos. I read. Sometimes I watch films. I'm obsessed with film. I dance. I just do like anything. Oh, do you know what I really do? I go into tree. I love trees. I will walk in the forest.
I'm loving this sort of folklore connection that we've got going on. It's so refreshing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're such a fantastic example to like younger generations and even older generations as well. Just, like let's for a second just take a step back and move away from all the digital devices. And, we're obviously in such a digital age. And if there's anything that this whole period of lockdown has taught us, surely it is just to reconnect a little bit with what we can actually see and hear around us. So I think that's a beautiful thing. Did you find yourself connecting more with nature, for example, over lockdown, or is it something that you've always been able to do?
Always, I have been able to do. If I'm in the mood, I'm probably gonna go for a walk in the forest behind where I live. And I'll be in there for ages. All my friends think I'm crazy because they're like, oh, how do you go there? And like, I was like, I've been around the whole thing. I know exactly where everything goes. The only people that are in there are old people with their dogs and young kids who smoke. And that's about it. So I'm like, I'm fine. I can sit there. Sometimes I'll listen to music. Sometimes I'll just sit and just listen to like the squirrels and stuff. I wrote 5 a day there in the forest. Like, sometimes it's just easier for me to be around, that's so sad. Sometimes it's easier for me to be around trees than me. But I'm an earth sign, so it makes sense.
What earth sign are you?
I'm a Capricorn sun and a Virgo moon. So, yeah.
So your birthday must be kind of soon.
4th of January, it's in 3 weeks.
Day before my mum's birthday, she's the 5th.
That's the day I start work again.
Ignore those things. But no, during lockdown, I was enjoying it. I was there reading books. I think I went out one morning and did yoga at sunrise. Yeah, like 2 or 3 mornings. People just saw me in there and just chilling. Sometimes I lay there, just watch the sunset and sunrise. That's like my go-to place. If people want to hang out with me, nature is the best thing. Yeah,
she's in the forest.
Honestly, take me to nature and we're good.
I think that's so good. I think it's so good to like get outside yourself and like get out of the house. I've definitely noticed. I mean, particularly as like the weather's got a bit bad or a bit worse, should I say? There'll be points where like it's Wednesday afternoon and I realise I've not left the house since like Monday, and I'm working from home as well. So I'm really trying to like get out and do a walk. But I think maybe this year's been crap. Everyone knows this year's been crap. It's been crap for everyone, regardless of what industry you work in. But I do think that maybe like our parks have been a bit of a saviour.
This year is too hard, and I learned that this year has been like literally like what you said. It's been like the worst ever. Even though for me, there's been some highs, but quite a lot of highs. Actually, let me not lie. But it's been quite an emotionally wearing time. Yeah, it's like always picking yourself back up. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is super tiring. But maybe we could talk more about your highs, because you did say earlier on that you'd been like more creative than you maybe anticipated in lockdown. I'd love to hear about that. So was that like with your songwriting, or was that with obviously the book you're writing?
Everything.
Or was it just everything?
Yeah, I drew a lot more because I'm pretty good at drawing. So I drew a lot more. I took some photos of people during the first phase of lockdown because I wanted to like see how things transition. So I bought a film camera, a Canon AV1. So I was taking like photos a lot, and then what else was I doing? I wrote a couple of songs during lockdown. I co-wrote a project and co-vocal produced a project for an artist that I started working with because of lockdown, which was quite hilarious. I tweeted during lockdown, I was like, I'm tired of doing nothing, or anyone that wants me to write for them, let me know. I was like, I'm sick, and a bunch of people retweeted, and I was like, she is sick. And then I was like, send me your music and I'll listen to it. If I'm down to work with you, I'll email you back. And someone sent me their project, and her name's Laolu, and I shit you not, the project is actually amazing, and we did it in 3 days. Me, Jay Warner, and a few other people, and it just like I can't wait for her to release it. I did that. Like, look, we shot the 5-a-day video in lockdown. Like, we did a lot. This year has been a lot of stuff.
So I guess this podcast is most likely going to come out in the new year. So talking like we're in 2021, what are your plans, providing that we're in a better situation with the pandemic? What are you hoping to achieve this year in 2021?
Shows. I wanna.
We hear that,
right? And
hey, we'll be at your shows.
Yeah,
we'll definitely come. Definitely.
That's my favorite part as well. Like, I love to perform. There's something about the energy exchange that I literally get off of. Like, there's nothing like it in the world. It's the best feeling. So that I wanted, definitely a headline show. And then I want to release. I'm gonna hold myself to this. I want to release 2 projects next year, and I like to call it global chemiation, which is global domination. But yeah, that's me. I just want to take over, to be honest.
Yeah, and you will, girl. You will. We'll be right by you. We'll vote on the ballot paper.
Yeah, just think, maybe in like 10 years' time,
Next
people will be
name.
like, tonight, Matthew, I want to be Kemi.
Do you know what, yeah? Oh! Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes, you put it in the world. It has to happen.
Manifest it. If you could write for anyone, who would that be? And also, would you ever let anyone write for you?
Yes. Frank Ocean can write for me any day.
Oh, yes. Great choice. Great choice.
Right? Any day. And I would love to, I've changed it recently, but I would love to write for Rihanna.
I can see that.
I'd love to. It used to be Beyonce, but I've changed it now. I don't mind not writing for Beyonce. Because
or both.
Even though if she says yes, I would fly. I would grow wings like the fairy I really am and just transport. Yes. But yeah, I would love to write for them.
I love that so much. Oh yeah. So do you have people write for you now, or is it all your own?
I've only had one song where I co-wrote it with someone else. It's called Honest. It was ages ago, but all the new stuff I wrote it all by myself.
Wow. You're like a like a triple threat. You're so creative. I wonder, do you think you'll ever like go into production and like produce all your own stuff and be like a one-woman show?
That's low key the plan. I do want to produce for myself, and I don't mind how long it takes. I'm ready for the growth, the journey. I like learning new things. I'm obsessed with learning. It's like my favorite thing. So yeah, I probably will. Definitely.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
You've been such a pleasure to talk to today. It's been lovely. Like I'm loving like all the conversations that we've had, from stars in their eyes to confidence to songwriting. Like I feel like we've covered so many bases. Hassie, do you have any more bases to cover?
Yeah, no, you've been a brilliant guest. I mean, that's kind of all my questions, bar like our final question.
So, Kemi, who are you keeping on repeat at the moment?
Who actually am? Fleetwood Mac still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rihanna's Anti album again.
Ooh.
It came back on rotation and I can't stop playing it. Yeah.
On rotation?
Yeah. I have like a production and writing inspiration like playlist that I just listen to all my favourite songs over and over again. There's mad stuff in there. You've got like extreme More Than Words to the Civil Wars, 20 Years, to Billy, what's her name? Martin, Lionheart. Then you've got Method Man and Busta Rhymes, Warren G and Nate Dogg, Beyonce, like it's all there. I'm influenced by everything. It's actually crazy. But right now it's Anti and Fleetwood, Rumours, yeah, those two.
All in one playlist.
Keeping it eclectic. That's the way.
Oh dear. Oh, Kemi, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for taking some time out to speak to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me. You guys have been amazing. This was so much fun, honestly. Thank you.
That was Kemi Ade.
Yes.
I loved it. She's just great. I just want to meet up with Kemi. I just want to like hang out with her. Hopefully when the world is back to normal, we can meet up in real life and connect face to face. And speaking of connecting, you should definitely be following Kemi on Instagram and Twitter, and her handle is _Kemi Ade, and Kemi is spelled Kemi, Ade is spelled Ade. And make sure that you stream, download, buy her EP. It's super new.
Brand new, fresh out the oven.
And we both love it, and I've been listening to it so much.
Thank you so much to Kemi, and we hope to see you soon, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, then please don't forget to follow us, subscribe, leave a nice review. We love nice reviews.
We really do read them all. We really appreciate it. It's a really brilliant free way of just telling us we're doing a good job, which is always nice to hear, and also just helps people find the podcast. So yeah, if you love new music, new finds, then keep the reviews coming in. Thanks again for listening, and yeah, see you next week for another wonderful episode of On Repeat, the podcast.